Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
It's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo Koon in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Hey, it's Leif Gaffert. I played Uncle Ben's killer in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek podcast.
You're listening to the Everything Geek podcast, bringing you interviews from your favorite films and TV shows every week, and all of the latest news. Here's your host, Ruari Williamson.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host Ruari, and joining me today are two very special guests. Returning to the podcast are producers Douglas Sloan and Art Brown, best known as the showrunners, executive producers and writers on Dragons Race to the Edge, Dragons Riders of Berk and Dragons Dawn of the Dragon Racers. How are you both today?
Great, how are you doing?
Great, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So getting right into the questions, obviously there's a lot to talk about in regard to the new season coming out, but even also as well the end of the previous season. So now the decision to end the third season on a cliffhanger, I mean it was a big decision considering obviously the movie characters can't die, so in some ways it's a quote false unquote cliffhanger. Were you ever worried about how the fans would react to the cliffhanger, or were you and your writing team eager to just do the cliffhanger anyway?
Yeah, look, when you do a lot of seasons like this, you always want to leave the audience waiting and cliffhanging on something they want to come back for. And even though we know that the main characters aren't going to die in our show, that doesn't mean that the tension and this can't be ratcheted up, because we don't know who are, we don't know who Mala is in the Defenders of the Wing, and we don't know what they're capable of doing. And I think at the end of the day, you always kind of know the main characters aren't going to die. So it's more a matter of what will she do, what can she do. Maybe someone else, will be affected by it or something like that. But got to be some sort of element of peril, which is, as you said, it's difficult because you sort of know what's going to happen in the movie. But and it's our job to. Look, there's a lot of shows and movies out there that are, based on true events, so you know what the ending is. But if you're doing your job right, you're still creating that tension and that those moments that keep the audience intrigued.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the way I personally watch TV shows or films, even if I know a certain character won't die, I find myself reacting, like trying to look at it from the character's point of view, because they don't know if they're going to die or not in the next moment. So,
right. How they're going to get out. If they're not going to die, that's okay, but how do they end up not dying is what's more interesting,
Yeah, I completely agree. So now, of course, this is the 4th season of Race to the Edge coming up, and the 6th season of Dragons you've both done when you take into account the 2 seasons on Cartoon Network. What do you both find to be the biggest challenges whenever you start work on the new season of Dragons?
I think for us, we always want to make each season. Sorry, that's one of our other producers in the office. That's Morgan. She's a producer.
Hi, Morgan.
We always want to figure out what new and exciting aspect we can bring to each season, what we're going to do differently, and a lot of that is based on our bad guy usually, who the bad guy is going to be, what sort of peril we're going to put our heroes in, what new and interesting dragons will they encounter, what powers haven't we seen from these dragons, and where they're going to go emotionally as characters.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It makes a lot of sense. That's a really good answer. Now, very little is actually known about the 4th season's episode titles so far, other than it will carry on from Season 3's cliffhanger with Defenders of the Wing Part 2. Are you allowed to reveal the titles of any of the other episodes in the 4th season?
We went with no titles on our shows this season. No, I'm just kidding.
They're all in ruins. No, we can definitely let you know a few of them.
Yeah, sure. There's some good ones. There's one called Midnight Scrum, which is a cool episode where a lot of bad guys are sort of out to get Hiccup. There's an episode called Dire Straits, which we're introducing this dragon called the Submaripper, which is a deep sea dragon, which is really cool. It can suck boats down with its power. There's an episode called Gold Rush, where they're going to try to get the gold back that they lost in the last season, Berk's Gold. There's a fun episode called Twin Tuition, which is where, our hilarious twins think that they have this psychic...
Sort of extrasensory perception. So they think they know what people are going to say before they say it, and of course they don't.
Of course they don't, but in its idiot savant way, they do.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch that are pretty fun, and the last two-parter, which teases a big dragon, is called Shell Shocked, and that's a dragon called the Shellfire that will be out in this season. That's really, really cool.
It's very nice, so thanks for telling me about that. Now, you mentioned they're going to go after Berk's Gold, which of course was a big loss from the penultimate episode of last season, Last Auction Heroes, but there's something else that the Berkians need to get back. Now, last season there wasn't really that much of a focus on trying to get the Dragon Eye back. Can we expect the writers to set their sights on getting it back anytime soon?
That's a very good question. There will be some concentration on getting the Dragon Eye back, but the way they get it back, the way the Dragon Eye comes into their possession again, is in a very unique way, and not what you would think.
It's not in a way that they find it somewhere hidden or anything like that. It's more based in and around Hiccup's relationship with Vigo.
Correct.
That he had a way to extract it from him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there goes my theory that they were going to play hide and seek with the Dragon Eye.
Yeah, it's a little different, but it's very interesting the way it happens. We really sort of thought long and hard about that because it's a tricky thing. It's it's a very tricky thing.
And also we have to think as writers, we have to think long term in terms of the Dragon Eye. So if you start playing hide and seek with the Dragon Eye, it'll get old pretty quick. So you want to be economical in the times that you have it exchanging hands, and you want to differentiate in the way it exchanges hands, and it all has to lead to a big purpose at the end. So we have that in mind as well.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds really interesting, and thanks for telling me about those episode titles as well. Now, one thing I'm curious about as well, obviously last time you were on our podcast, you talked about the musical episode, how it was very different from anything you'd done before, how it was one of the most unique episodes of Dragons. I'm curious, are there any episodes this season that you think are unique or different from any you've done before, like the musical was last season?
Yeah, we've got one coming out, and it's called
gruff around the edges.
Gruff around the edges, and it concerns a character we like to call Gruff Nut. And we won't tell you too much about him, but you can kind of imagine what's gonna happen with that.
He's related to
he's another nut.
He's another nut. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. It's a very comedic episode. You know, the thing, the musical episodes, it was a big departure for us. You know, it was something that normally we would never do, but it was sort of that time in the series we felt to expand our thinking a little bit and give the characters something, see them in a way we'd never seen them before. And I think that's sort of why we did that musical episode. It gave them some vulnerability and some tenderness, and it gave us the ability to write some funny, weird songs. And
you do, and in Gruff Around the Edges, you do get twice the T.J. Miller, which is
awesome.
Always a great thing. Always a great thing. And one other episode, I think, that what Doug was saying, in terms of seeing our characters in a different way, is an episode called The Longest Day, which is based around the week of the Midnight Sun, where it doesn't set for a week, and all the kids are dealing with sleep deprivation. So you get to see some really wacky, hilarious sides of the kids that you've never seen before. Someone who's normally hilarious, you might see a real serious side, and vice versa. So that's an episode that does sort of like what Doug was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really interesting. Well, it's going to be double the trouble with another nut.
Oh my god.
It's nutty.
It's nutty. But nutty and funny.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you said twice the T.J. Miller. Does that mean he also voices the other nut as well as Tough Nut, or is that just your way of saying that? It means
yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. And it's really great. The voice that he came up with for Gruff Nut was really good. It was grounded, first of all, and it was just different enough that it made it fun and interesting, and gave him the characteristics that we needed him to have.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Well, I look forward to seeing Gruff Nut in action in terms of the jokes with the other nuts, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah, those two episodes sound really interesting. Now, last year as well, after I spoke to you two, of course, and after the third season had come out, I spoke to Dragons writer Jack Thomas, and he told me there's an upcoming episode with Hiccup and Toothless on their own for the whole episode. He actually described it as being the most challenging episode he had to write for Dragons. Now, I'm going to make an assumption and say it's in this season, because on the How to Train Your Dragon Facebook page with the Season 4 release date, there's an image with Hiccup and Toothless stranded on their own, and that, I say on their own because it's clearly not Dragon's Edge they're both on. If so, and this is part of the season, can you tell us anything about this episode?
Yeah, I think he's probably talking about The Longest Day, the one we were just talking about, where they have sleep deprivation, because the kids are all by themselves, and Hiccup and Toothless get stranded on an island, just the two of them, and have to face off against a pretty unique dragon. And it's probably that one where they have to sort of defend themselves against this dragon and find an interesting way to get out of the situation that they're in, something that they haven't dealt with before. And both of them are dealing with sleep deprivation. So you have Toothless and Hiccup, who are both a little off their game, and they have to sort of overcome that.
Yeah, it's a really cool episode. It's got some great comedy. I mean, we always like to try to get the, comedy in there with the action, and we feel it really services both of those things. So it'll be really cool.
But Jack Thomas shouldn't be complaining about how hard it is to write an episode. We're gonna have to take him out to the woodshed.
Yeah.
Well,
Jack Thomas.
Poor Jack. Poor Jack.
Well, he didn't necessarily complain. I
You don't have to cover for him.
Yeah,
you don't have to do it. We love Jack. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, basically I posed a challenging question to him, basically asking which was the most challenging episode, and he said it was an upcoming one, and then said similar things to what you said. Don't worry, he didn't give anything away.
No.
No.
Just playing around.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to be on Jack's side there. But why?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, but what he did tell me was that apparently, and you two can confirm this if it's true or not, he actually said that you two pretty much rewrote his original script for that episode. Is that true?
Probably.
Yeah, we pretty much rewrite. We rewrite a lot of them only because, when you do a TV series, the voices always have to be the same, and it's our job as the showrunners and the head writers to make sure that the voices sound exactly the same. Like Hiccup always sounds like Hiccup, or Tough Nut always sounds like Tough Nut. So, the writers that we work with, they get us about 80% of the script, and then we just go in and finish off that little extra, percentage that, puts it over the top.
We call it the zhuzh.
The zhuzh, yes. It's a very technical term.
It's a really good name. Now, obviously, you were talking a little earlier about some of the new dragons and characters that are in Race to the Edge Season 4, which is very exciting. Are there any others you have in mind that you would like to tell us about in terms of dragons and characters?
There will be a character introduced this season who we will be teasing for the future that people should watch out for. Just somebody who maybe seems like he's just a one-off character who may be coming back.
Yep.
There's the return of the Trick, which is a really cool dragon from last that they rescued from the dragon fighting ring last season.
Yep. And that's going to end up being a pretty important dragon throughout the series. You'll see a lot of that dragon.
There's going to be somebody else. There's going to be somebody who rides that dragon.
Yeah.
Down the road. The fire terrors are pretty cool. We introduced the Eruptodon last season at the end of the season. The fire terrors are a dragon that live on the Defenders of the Wing Island inside the volcano, and there's a cool episode with them. They're kind of like these red night terrors that are pretty cool. We brought up the Shellfire at the end of the season. That's a really, really cool dragon. It's like an aircraft carrier dragon in a way.
Right.
Oh, that's not till next.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Tease. That was a
Good
bit.
thing we weren't on camera for that one.
Yeah.
And remember the name of the dragon that Hiccup and Toothless face off against when they're on that island, the one with all the other dragons underneath it. What was that called?
Thunder? Is it something Thunder? Is it the oh god.
In the episode where Hiccup and Toothless are by themselves, they face off against a dragon. I forget the name of it, but it's really, really cool.
It's a huge dragon that carries other dragons on its wings like an airplane would carry bombs.
Yeah, it's like a bomber, like a big bomber dragon.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah, trust us, it's awesome.
I swear it's cool.
Yeah. But I do have to say, I really liked how you both came so close to giving me a tease from Beyond Season 4, and then we're just having a little conversation.
Well, Emily here with us, and she's got a knife at the ready if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, she's got Morgan by the collar.
That's really funny though. Now, one thing you did actually mention that I thought was interesting there is you mentioned that that there's going to be a character teased this season that may seem like a one-off character at the time, but will play a bigger role. Now, something I thought was interesting was, in Last Auction Heroes, the second last episode of Season 3, there was a character that was going to buy Toothless from Vigo, and the reason I bring this character up is, like, he had a completely unique original character design, and most TV shows, whatever, won't give a character a unique design if they weren't going to bring them back. So, is that that the character you're talking about, or is that like a different character that will come back?
I think that could be a similar character.
Yeah.
I think you've done homework.
You have.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
Thanks. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, what can I ask them that no one else will? And I'm just like, most people probably didn't pay attention to that guy.
Yeah. What's interesting is who he is and where he's from will be of something of interest in the future.
Okay, well, it's very cool to hear it. Now, what else can fans look forward to in the 4th season of Race to the Edge that you haven't mentioned?
They can look forward to a first with Hiccup and Astrid.
Yes.
But
Hiccup and Astrid.
But our lips are tied.
Yeah, our lips are sealed. But it is something we've never seen with Hiccup and Astrid.
Yeah, and I've literally, once you said Hiccup and Astrid, I literally went to the live chat and was like, "There's the tease." So
yeah, that's it. That's the deal.
It's a really great episode. It's called Blindsided. It's in the latter half, actually right before the final two-parter, and it's a really, really cool episode with the two of them. I will say that, and it's well worth the wait. I know the fans have been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, but it kickstarts everything for Hiccup and Astrid leading up to the second movie, where you find them in the second movie. And it's not just going to just happen and that's it. We are going to deal with their relationship in many ways going forward and until the end of the season. It's something that will become a big part of the series.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But now I just feel like there's going to be a lot of Dragons fans that are even less patient for the 4th season to come out now.
Yeah, well, you know what?
They've only got to wait a week.
They only
Yeah. At least
they're going to be waiting for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. At least they know it's coming.
Exactly.
They know it's coming.
Exactly.
But it's a cool episode. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very, very, very excited about that one. It's it's one of our favorites that we did that last season.
There may be a character coming back as well.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty big tease. Is it a character that was in the trailer this morning, or a different character?
We didn't see the trailer.
We haven't seen the trailer. Was it good?
It was really good. I've watched it 4 times already.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a dragon coming back that is pretty awesome.
Yep.
That was previously. It's a lot of stuff in this season is getting our ducks in a row, building up towards that final push towards the end. So we're setting up a lot of stuff, but also a lot of really cool episodes and great dragons, and not to mention the fact that the look of the show continues to get better. So, when you see that trailer, you're probably partially responding to the way it looks and the effects that we're using. I mean, we're using amazing effects now that are literally cinema quality, the water interaction and all that stuff that we have sort of, now perfected for television that we weren't able to do before, we're able to do now, and it's made things just really take off.
Yeah, definitely. You just had to get a pun in, didn't you?
I did, and I didn't even know it was coming. It just appeared.
Yeah, that's the exact same as my tough nut pun the last time
you
were on the show.
Yeah, don't punish me.
Well, they are puntageous after all.
Yes, they are.
Before this interview derails completely, well, I couldn't, obviously.
I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, it really has at this point. I'll just wing it from now on. Okay,
Go for it.
We're really being cruel to the listeners at this point with the puns. Now, obviously, you're both promoting the upcoming season of Dragons. I believe you've actually both finished working on Dragons as a whole, including the 2 seasons after. So, do either of you have any other upcoming projects you would like to talk about?
We have we're staying in the kids and family space, pretty much. But we have some really fun, interesting projects we've been acquiring. A lot of intellectual property and
we're starting to partner with authors in the young adult kid space that are very, very well known authors that want to bring their books to life on television. So that's sort of something we're really concentrating on down the road.
But some really cool, fun, interesting stuff.
That's really cool. Well, that's all of my questions for you today, Art and Doug. It's been a pleasure talking to you again.
As always.
Yeah, definitely.
And anytime we're available.
I'm sure we'll talk to you before the next one.
The next drop. The next
tranche.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you again soon. It was a pleasure doing this again. Take care.
All
Bye.
right, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
The 4th season of Dragon's Race to the Edge will be released on Netflix next Friday, February 17th. Make sure to check out our podcast links. Check out our website, website.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the below email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the host's YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/separatist-destroyers. Check out Douglas Sloan and Art Brown on their Twitter profiles respectively. Douglas's is twitter.com/VORDJS143 and Art's is twitter.com/ArtEBrown. And check out channel 1138 where we broadcast live from, www.channel1138.com. Geeks out, everyone.
Probably the biggest challenge for us was we had to decide whether we were, because there's like 5 years that passes between the first movie and the second movie, we had to decide
to get 2 more seasons of 13. So, which was great because we didn't feel like we'd finished telling the story. We had a stopping point, and we left ourselves an out, which luckily then